Right, so in section 9.3, we are going to explore another thing that we've previously seen, only we're going to answer a question about a mean of our population instead. So in chapter 7, we learned one important technique for statistical inference, the confidence interval. In this section, we're going to use the same technique for making inferences about the means of populations. We will construct and interpret a confidence interval from the population mean. So before we get started with that, just kind of a refresher, when we're dealing with confidence intervals that we saw in chapter 7 and our hypothesis tests that we saw in chapter 8, just a reminder that they are designed to answer different questions. Right? Our confidence intervals are used for estimating parameter values. Our hypothesis tests are used for deciding between values for a parameter. In this particular section, we are going to focus on our confidence intervals. Right? So still the two types of questions that we've seen before. First, we're going to focus in section 9.3 on these confidence intervals, and then eventually we'll look at our hypothesis tests in section 9.4. All right. So thinking with this focus of confidence interval in mind, just some details, again, kind of some refreshers, some different things that we want to remind ourselves of. Confidence intervals provide a range of plausible values for the population mean, along with a measure of the uncertainty of our estimate. The measure of uncertainty has to do with our confidence level. When we're using a confidence interval, we want to use it, again, when we are estimating our values. Do not use a confidence interval if there's no uncertainty in your estimate. So again, the idea of using confidence intervals is they are used to estimate the value, right, of a population parameter. So that's what we're focusing on in this section, is estimating values. When we're interpreting confidence intervals, remember they should include the confidence level, population, and range. Again, our confidence level is how well our method used. It's not necessarily about our results, but the method that was being used. So for example, a 95% confidence interval means that if we were to take many random samples of the same size from the same population, we expect 95% of them to have values that contain the population parameter. So again, all different stuff that we saw back in chapter 7. We're just looking at our confidence intervals, in this case again for population means, but we are still using them to estimate values for a population parameter.